So I want to get a little vulnerable here with you all because I don't really talk much about my deep wounds or my healing journey, and this isn't going to be a long drawn out thing, but I just want to share with you all my experience and how I have already begun to learn from my suffering, my pain, and how this really comes full circle to just even the concept of fate and destiny and purpose and what that might look like for us. And so I have a deep fear of going to the doctor. I don't really, and it's funny because I don't ever get sick, so it shouldn't be a thing. However, I had an experience with my late grandmother, and it was very traumatic. It happened almost 20 years ago, and it's just been something that I have essentially suppressed, and it's come out in many ways. And the way that I have always coped with the death of my grandmother and that whole experience has been through just shutting down or suppressing, or like in this particular case, not going to the doctor. And so recently I had what I learned strained my shoulder muscle and my shoulder, between my shoulder and my neck. However, it was very, very painful, and I didn't really know what was going on. And so, family suggested that I go to the doctor, and I'm just like, it was a whole thing. And however, I accepted it, I surrendered, and being that I'm a mother, I want to really take care of my body. I don't want to run from pain. I don't want to, I want to know if there's something that is significant, or I want to know what's going on with my body. However, I will also say that I am very strongly connected to my body, and I know when something is serious and when it's not. And I knew exactly what was going on there. But again, talking to family, it became like this whole oh my goodness, just creating a lot of anxiety and worry. And so I took it upon myself to go ahead and make the appointment. And so that took a lot. I was really having anxiety about it. And, it was a really uncomfortable place to be. But I have been speaking for some time now about sitting in discomfort and sitting in it and asking what it has to teach you. What can you learn from that discomfort? What can you learn from that pain? And also, if you're suffering, what can you learn from the suffering? So I went to the doctor, I went to the orthopedic doctor, and it was just a strain. They did x-rays and everything. It even over the past 2 days has gotten better, to the point where if I hadn't made the appointment, I probably wouldn't have made an appointment at this point. But I'm glad that I went, because it validated so many things for me. And even more so in this particular time in which I have been, for me right now, I have some activations in my house, in the house of health and wellness, of the physical body, of essentially misfortune, which was another reason why I was a little nervous about going to the doctor. Because in certain aspects of astrology, the predictive, once you know some things, you can't unknow. But it's also, there are also infinite possibilities. And so while you might have this idea of how it might manifest, there's so many ways it can manifest. So just deal with it, go get it done, go get it checked out, or take that leap of faith, trust, and it will more than likely not be anything of what you thought it was. And it more than likely won't be anything to worry about. And at the end of the day, it's really nothing to worry about. And so I wanted to share that. And so I am going to be teaching a class on Chiron here on July 22nd called Decoding Chiron, Decoding Chiron in Your Birth Chart. And I'll be teaching that online via Zoom. And so I am been studying and sitting with the archetype of Chiron, and sitting with the story and the myth, which I will briefly explain in the class, and how that relates to the chart. But I realized that there are significant teachings of Chiron, and I would say the teachings are essentially, there are three major points or major teachings within your Chiron placement, and that's going to be acceptance and surrender. That's all in one. There's going to be the lessons within the pain, what comes forth through sitting with that pain and learning that lesson and communicating with that and getting to know that pain. And then there's also the trust and building inner strength within, obviously within yourself, trust within yourself and building that inner strength. And so for me, accepting and surrendering, that's essentially like the first step, right? Like you're accepting, you're acknowledging, and you're surrendering to it, right? Like there's something here. And for me, just accepting that, okay, there's something going on, something's out of balance. By making that appointment, I was accepting and surrendering to this pain or to this experience and really acknowledging like something's out of balance here. Then as I am moving forward through my day to day and the pain arises and it comes and goes, it wasn't something that was, actually it is kind of like lingering. However, the lesson in this pain, essentially for me, it was to slow down, right? Because what happened is that I was working out and I was just like really feeling myself, and I'm like doing the shoulder presses and really going for it and doing my other, lifting or weightlifting exercises, and I just strained my muscle and it was really painful, and I couldn't even pick my daughter up, couldn't do, just mundane house chores and everything. So the lesson in that was to slow down. What are you rushing for? Why are you overexerting yourself? And then finally, the trust in the building inner strength. That came through when I went to the doctor, and one, I knew exactly what was going on with my body. So that was like, that gave me some confidence and some trust within myself and my own discernment. And then the ability to, like, the fact that I showed up, right? That was trusting. And that took a lot of strength within myself to actually go to the appointment, because I almost canceled it today because I had created some situations that would have made it easy to cancel, but it all worked out. And that was the final message, is that it will all work out in the end, right? And so we have to really sit within the discomfort. We have to acknowledge the pain, acknowledge the trauma, and that's on a personal level and a collective level. And so by showing up, sitting with that, communicating that, showing unconditional love, we will be able to move forward and we will heal those aspects of ourselves. So again, these teachings of Chiron, simply accepting and surrendering, learning the lessons of the pain, acknowledging the lessons of the pain, and also the lesson or the teaching will be of greater, or result in greater inner strength, as well as greater trust within yourself. And so if you are wanting to see how this is reflected in your birth chart, definitely join me for this class, Chiron Decoded, or Decoding Chiron in your birth chart. It will be on July 22nd at 1 p.m. Eastern time on Zoom. You can book that via the link in my bio or the link in the description of this video. And also there is a discount code for 11% off if you sign up for my newsletter. And if you're already a subscriber to my email list, you can go ahead and check your email inbox. You'll have the email there with a discount code. If you don't see it for some reason, send me an email at connect@uraniauniverse.com and I will send that over to you if you are an email subscriber already and you haven't received that. And so again, thank you so much for your support. I am looking forward to digging deep into Chiron and learning more from Chiron. And I'm hoping that you all have a lovely, lovely rest of your week, despite everything that's going on around us. It's all in perspective. All right. Thank you so much. Take care.